here's the deal also, Russia is a Christian nationalist nation. They're actually Orthodox Christian. I'm Russian Orthodox. So, I actually support Putin's right to protect his people and always put his people first, but also protect their Christian values. I identify more with with Putin's Christian values than I do with Joe Biden. So, there is that. There is that there. Christian nationalist countries also are a threat to the global regime, like the Luciferian regime. It wants to mash everything together, but Putin takes care of his people. He looks out for his people. I watched as he deported, they literally walked them through the streets, the criminal illegals who were coming into their country. They walked them out and they escorted them out and they said, get out. I can respect that. I can respect that. And I can respect the fact that Putin does everything he can to protect his people.
Okay, this is Lauren Chen on screen. She is the owner of a company that basically got indicted recently, or the founder of the company, for taking money from Russia to influence the U.S. election effectively. It's a little more complicated than that. But Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, Lauren Southern were part of this company that was taking Russian money to push Russian propaganda in the United States. Did they know? I don't know. It's hard to know if these people knew what they were doing, but Lauren Chen, I'm very confident, in my opinion, knew. She knew what was happening as a co-founder with her husband. So I wanted to talk about the propaganda that Russia was trying to push exactly. What are they trying to spread? Just listen to a second of this here.
When it comes to dealing with the rights woman problem, there are definitely those of you out there who will just say, well, it's simple. We need to repeal the 19th. And
the woman's right to vote.
And trust me, I am no fan of the 19th Amendment myself.
So she's anti-feminist. She's saying that women shouldn't vote. What a wild position to take. Here's Candace Taylor. Talked about her not too long ago, too. Listen to what she has to say. Now, she's not part of Tenant Media, but she's weirdly echoing the same positions.
When the Lord told me to run for governor of Georgia, I was like, Lord, I want alpha men leading this country. I know what the Bible says about men leading. I want them leading. But in Georgia, we have a good old boy system. And so when men get elected in Georgia, they fall right in line with this good old boy system. The Lord was clear to me.
Okay, and this good old boy system is a good thing in her mind, I guess. If you don't know her history, she ran for governor in Georgia, and she got 4% of the vote. It was almost nothing. But she is now a chair of something, or a delegate or something like that, for the Republican Party in Georgia. So she's still involved in politics, very influential. Anyway, why did she run for governor if she thinks that only men should be in positions of power? What is that? I don't understand.
In Georgia, they fall right in line with this good old boy system. The Lord was clear to me. You're the disruptor. You're mine. You won't be bought. Even when I was offered $1 million, $3 million, $5.
Please. She was offered $5 million to drop out of the race. Anybody gave a about her. Kemp won by 1.5 miles. He won handily. He didn't have to worry about anything. But, of course, when she lost with 4% of the vote, which, by the way, is what the polls reflected roughly, she claimed voter fraud. She screamed about it, just like Donald Trump did. I mean, she's like a Trumpist nutcase. Here it is. Oh, God, I haven't pulled these up in years. This is from 2022. I forgot about these clips.
I wanted y'all to know that I do not concede. I do not. And if the people who did this
stole the election,
and cheated are watching, I do not concede. And the people of Georgia,
okay, how'd that work out for you?
Will not allow me to. I want you to feel inside of your gut,
okay,
righteous anger for justice. I want you to pray specifically, I want you to pray for dark to be brought to light.
Oh my God, just obnoxious, ridiculous nonsense. Anyway, the things that Candace Taylor says, the ideas that she repeats, are exactly the same ideas repeated on Russian state media and from Russian funded sources like Tim Pool and Lauren Southern and stuff. Precisely the same. Is she being paid for this? I don't know. I would say probably not. I'd say most likely Candace Taylor picked up on the right-wing ecosphere's ideas that are being pushed and decided to run with it. In my opinion, that's what happened. So she's anti-feminist also.
Even when I was offered $1 million, $3 million, $5 million to get out, to do this, to do that, no, I'm not for sale. I'm bought and paid for with the blood of Jesus. And so I'm so hard about that. All I care about is my children's future and that they're free, and that I haven't just sat around and did nothing and not done my part to ensure their freedom.
Absolutely. I believe you.
But I don't believe in us having a female in the executive branch at all. I do not want a female president. I do not want a female vice president.
Like, why did she run for governor if she doesn't think women should be in power? Like, I don't understand her thought process here. And I want to know, if she had won the governorship, no chance of it, but if she had, would she have pushed for a constitutional amendment to remove the 19th Amendment, her right to vote? I have to wonder.
I want alpha godly men leading our country, and I want them in most every seat. I think that there's balance in some places for.
Oh my God, it's so painfully stupid.
For women, that we bring detail and we bring emotionality and we bring that empathy that sometimes men lack.
Oh my God, dude. It's absurd. Anyway, let's talk about like some of the other people that are very clearly pushing Russian propaganda. Not just Lauren Chen, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, and Dave Rubin, and all of the others. Not just Candace Taylor, but listen to this one. This is Delora O'Brien. She's a QAnoner, and she came out on her show immediately, like weeks after the Ukraine war started, and she spread a whole bunch of Russian propaganda for them. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but at the time, nobody was opposed to Ukraine. It was like, a million loud voices screaming to help Ukraine. Rightfully so. That's how it should be. And while people are trying to help Ukraine, Delora O'Brien comes out on her program and she says this.
I'm not on Putin's side. I'm not on Zelensky's side. I'm not on Trump's side.
Right.
I'm on God's side. God's side is the side of truth. It just so happens that right now, our President Trump is on the side of God. Also, believe it or not, so is Putin.
I mean, that is a wild thing to say immediately after the war starts. Seriously. It gets even crazier.
Right before I came on here, this is what was sent to me. A Russian soldier. I even have his name, and I can't give it. I'm sorry. I can't. Just research it. I'm sure it'll start coming out.
It never came out because it was fictitious. But I wonder, why can't she say the soldier's name? I don't understand. Why is that a bad thing? That's weird, right?
Searching for bioweapons. There was him and a few of the other soldiers.
Pure Russian propaganda right out of the Kremlin. Searching for bioweapons. Nonsense, of course.
Searching for bioweapons in central Ukraine, stumbled upon a child trafficking den.
Again, more Russian propaganda, clear as day. QAnon was spreading Russian propaganda, has been this whole time. It gets even crazier. Delora O'Brien works with this woman sometimes named Rachel Hamm. She ran for the Secretary of State of California, I think. She didn't win, but some of the things that they said are just like mind-blowing. Listen to this one. This one, by the way, is October 2021, late October.
Do you remember when Obama was president? And for those 8 years, we were having a hard time saying Merry Christmas?
No, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. Nobody was like disallowed from saying that. Are you serious right now?
Things have changed.
Yeah.
So much. And that's a lot due to President Trump.
Yes.
Obviously,
yes, and I
God
think
him.
his absence is important too, because the Lord is working powerfully in the absence.
What the hell does that even mean? Oh, they had this big long conversation that got insane.
He's going to get back in. No one will ever convince me otherwise. If nothing else, Prophet Kim Clements said 2 terms, and he didn't say one now and then one later. So I know that
Yeah, Kim Clement is the MAGA prophet who supposedly prophesied Donald Trump was going to win 2 terms like before he did or whatever. And it's like, that's not that revolutionary. That's not that incredible that you would say something like that. And he didn't even really say it. He said it in kind of coded words. It didn't really make any sense and could apply to literally anything. He said Trump will be a trumpet. Well, like, what does that mean? Anyway.
So I know that it's going to happen. We don't know when. You know, that's up to God, but God's playing rope-a-dope, and
Playing what?
and when it's time, it will definitely be time. Will you close in prayer for us?
Yes, absolutely. And also, my dad said something interesting yesterday, that a president can be president up to 10 years, not 8. So
Who told you that? Your dad told you that? Where did he hear that? I mean, is that even true? I don't think so. I believe a president can be president for 2 terms, which are 4 years each. And if they are the vice president, when the president dies, they can assume office, but not through an election, I believe.
interesting. Like, if Trump were to get back in next year, he could
We have 4
potentially,
more years.
he could, after those 2 years, have 4 more. Yeah. Just interesting.
That's beyond interesting. That's amazing. That's like
Yeah.
throw a party. Wow.
Okay, wow. You know, the fascinating thing about this is exactly what dictators throughout history have always done. In democracies, when they want to take over the democracy, turn it into a dictatorship, they get elected, and then they change the laws to allow them to have multiple terms, like more terms than previously. Putin did this, as a matter of fact, and I think he extended it out to allow him to have until 2036 or something, I believe, before he has to leave office. And I'm sure before then, if he's still alive, he'll extend it even further. I mean, this is just pure unadulterated Russian propaganda. You want to hear about Russian propaganda? Listen to this one. This is Lauren Witzke talking about feminism. Again, super weird.
And in regards to women voting, that was the worst thing that ever happened to America, too. Look at us now. Women overwhelmingly vote on their emotions. And their emotions, and the liberals are very good at appealing to emotions. Oh,
that's fascinating, isn't it? She's repeating the same garbage that Candace Taylor repeated. Now, this woman here, she is most definitely on the Russian payroll. This was immediately after the Ukraine war started also. Listen to this one.
Here's the deal also, Russia is a Christian nationalist nation, actually Orthodox Christian. I'm Russian Orthodox. So, I actually support Putin's right to protect his people and always put his people first, but also protect their Christian values.
Yeah, but Putin wasn't protecting his country or his values or whatever. He was attacking a sovereign country.
I identify more with with Putin's Christian values than I do with Joe Biden. So, there is that. There is that there. Christian nationalist countries also are a threat to the global regime, like the Luciferian regime. It wants to mash everything together, but Putin takes care of his people. He looks out for his people.
Right. He looks out for his people. Is that why people are afraid to walk near windows in Russia?
I watched as he deported, they literally walked them through the streets, the criminal illegals who were coming into their country. They walked them out and they escorted them out and they said, get out. I can respect that. I can respect that. And I can respect the fact that Putin does everything he can to protect his people.
I mean, it's clear, right, that this is a Russian propagandist. It's not just Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, Lauren Southern, and the other 2, whoever they are, Lauren Chen and stuff. Not just them. And this stuff has been blatantly obvious for years now. That clip that we just watched was from 2022. It was February 23rd, 2022, the day that Russia invaded Ukraine. Yeah, check this one out from Lauren Witzke. By the way, she ran for Congress, I believe, didn't she? Hold on, let me just verify that. I think she's in Delaware. Yeah, 2020 U.S. Senate election in Delaware. She lost to incumbent Democrat Chris Coons. She's a former TV show host for True News. Yeah, she was on True News. Oh my God, True News is insane.
The problem the enemy's having, Lauren, is even if some of these cases, it's not because of the vaccine, everyone automatically thinks the vaccine's the cause. And that's the thing about it. We're not the one fueling that. the government, the elite, the people who push this shot on humanity, they're the ones that are responsible for the mistrust.
Well, Edward, as far as I'm concerned, everybody who dies suddenly or has died suddenly, it's a result of the vaccine. It's
Everybody that dies suddenly, it's the vaccine. Are you kidding me with this? Pure, unadulterated Russian propaganda. And you know what? I can say that with confidence because I call it out wherever I see it, not just from Russia. You know that in the Philippines, when COVID hit and China was producing as many vaccines as they possibly could, vaccine from China, I think, had 73% efficacy or something like that. I don't think they used mRNA the way that the US did. But anyway, the United States ran this propaganda campaign in the Philippines about how China was responsible for the virus, and now they're selling you the cure and stuff. I mean, it was really, really ugly stuff. So the US does this too. They push propaganda. I'm not excusing it for anybody, but I don't know how anyone can deny this.
up to them to prove me to prove me wrong, because
It's up to them, whoever them is, to prove to her that people that die suddenly are not dying from the vaccine. Oh my God.
vaccine, it's up to them to prove me to prove me wrong, because we're at a point now where it has been, there's overall excess deaths. Like Ed Dowd said, the BlackRock old manager, the retired manager from BlackRock, he was saying that, oh my gosh, millennial deaths are through the roof, like unprecedented.
He was saying, why would he know anything about this? Why would you go to some random jagoff for this information? Why wouldn't you look at statistics? My God.
Numbers. We're facing a Six Sigma event where we're not even going to have a working class because they mandated the vaccine for the working class, who is now dying. And, like I said, you have to prove me wrong if it wasn't the vaccine. That's the thing, because I'm going to
No, I don't.
automatically assume it is.
And it's fair to assume.
God, dude. So stupid. So stupid. Looking back now, I think that there's a pretty solid case to be made that she is a Russian propagandist as well. And we should be looking at the money that she's taking in my opinion, as a government. Like, the government should take a close look at all of these people's money and what they're doing with it and where it's coming from. Lauren Witzke's, Candace Taylor's, Delora O'Brien, Rachel Hamm, and Lauren Chen, all of them. I mean, it's pretty clear that QAnon is a Russian disinformation node, right? I think that's fair to say. Delora O'Brien was one of those QAnon nodes, and the guy in the bottom right here, this is John Yanlo. He's also a QAnon disinformation node. She went on his thing to talk to him.
What was the reason behind deciding to run for this office? I mean, you've got a lot of things.
First of all, I'm a prophetic dreamer, so I had spent a lot of 2019 and 20.
Prophetic dreamer. That means she has prophetic dreams. This is just insane, beyond parody.
Having a lot of political dreams that I was in office. And because our youngest son Ezekiel is a seer, I went and got him. And
He's a seer prophet.
said, hey, can you look around and see what you're seeing? Because I just really, I get a kick out of hearing him describe, what he sees. And so I said, let me know if you see anything. And so he looked in my bedroom and my bathroom, and he said, there's nothing there. And then he goes into the closet, which is where I had been when I was praying.
I'm wondering how old this kid is. Is he like 15 or something?
And he said, whoa. And his eyes got like big as saucers. And he kind of started backing away, and they started bending down. And he said, you've got a really big guy in your closet. And
he found him. Now he has to find a new hiding place.
And his power is pushing me to the ground. And he'd never had that reaction ever to an angel. And so I'm like,
look at Johnny Enlow, bottom right corner here, just smiling away, nodding his head. Yeah.
To an angel. And so I'm like, he's for us, not against us, right? Because I was sure, it's a different response. And he's like, he's full of light. He's so full of light, I can't even see his face. And then he said, and he has a scroll in his hand. And so I was like, then he came with a message. Like, what is the message? And the message was a commissioning. So,
i.e., he told her to run for office, and she did. That's what the scroll said in her head.
So at the very end, I asked him what his name was, because I thought, what angel is this, And
Did she have to use her son as a conduit, I wonder? Or did she have to fall asleep and dream it or something?
And he said, Emmanuel. That wasn't an angel. That wasn't an angel. That was Jesus himself.
Oh my God, it's so painfully stupid. So that's Rachel Hamm. This is one of the people in the disinformation network.
My views are a little bit controversial when it comes to voter registration.
No
Everyone is wanting to make it as easy as possible and kind of appeal to the lowest common denominator of the easiest way to get as many people registered as possible. I see it the exact opposite. I want to make it hard. I want it to be something that people have to choose and re-choose and have to prove that they're a citizen and all that. So
I mean, that's how it is right now already.
I would love, and again, I know this is controversial. Some people like it, some people hate it, but I think we should clean the slate completely and have people have to re-register, say, every 8 years or maybe even every 12 years.
Like, doesn't that already happen in most places? I think it's run by the states if that's going to happen. But in my opinion, voting should be mandatory with exceptions if you want them. So it's an automatic opt-in type of thing, and you have to opt out to not do it. You just have to tell them, I don't want to do this. You don't even have to give a good reason, in my opinion. But if you don't opt out, then there's like a small fine or something. Democracy works best when there is mandated voting. When everybody is involved, it works best. Voter turnout gets low because people fall into complacency. They don't think it's a big deal. But the extremists of any party are watching all the time, and they vote in every election. So the people that get complacent are probably the most logical thinking people, the most normal people, and they don't have a say in the election because they don't care. It's going well. The extremists win. They put in an absolute nutcase, and now the people who are normal have to vote. Voter turnout shoots up through the roof. This is how democracy works. This is a cycle. So it should be mandatory for everybody, in my opinion. If you're Jehovah's Witness, you don't want to vote? Okay, just tell them that. But it should be expected. It should be like an expected part of society.
Even every 12 years. But you have to re-register. You have to stay, proving that you still want to vote, that you're still alive, and that you still want to vote, that you still live in the place where you're saying you live. And so that's what I would like to do with voter registration. There is a law, the National Voter Registration Act of 1984, that is really problematic, really makes it difficult to get people off the voter rolls once.
Oh my God, dude. You hearing this? It makes it difficult to get people off the voter rolls once they're on.
It needs to be overhauled. That needs to be changed. That's, again, something I would advocate to the legislature to make happen. Because
God, this is nuts. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. I mean, these people are very clearly paid by Russia, right? Or they're at the very least Russian assets, if not paid by them. I don't see how anybody could deny that at this point.